My own brother betraying me in such a way was the last thing I expected. Hello, I'm Jake, and I'm 28 years old. For the last 12 months, I've been chipping in to help my 25-year-old younger brother Adam with his rent. I did it not out of need, but pure desire. Protecting one another is a family duty, isn't it? That is at least my initial impression. Adam, to set the scene, has never been one to shoulder responsibilities well. He was the favored child when we were kids, and my parents showered with attention, while I was left to fend for myself. It was my responsibility to protect Adam from difficulty at school. I thought I had to chip in and buy replacements whenever he broke anything. He got by in life by coasting, constantly finding someone to help him out. Someone had to be there for me for quite some time. Last year, Adam was ecstatic when he moved out. He said, "At last, freedom," as if he weren't only transitioning from our parents' support to mine. Sure, he had a job, but between going out with friends, buying things on impulse, and not being good with money, he was never able to pay his rent. What about me? Aside from having a gentle heart for my younger brother, I also had a secure career and a respectable savings account. Therefore, I saved his bacon when he freaked out and called me late at night, claiming he was about to be evicted. This time, I vowed to myself. Naturally, though, that wasn't the end of it. The calls persisted month after month. Every time, someone found an excuse. He was owed a late paycheck. His hours were decreased. An unforeseen expense arose for him. Time and again, I sent him monetary payments. $450 at this place and $700 in that one. Sometimes he would simply send me the link to his Venmo account without even asking. He would thank me and tell me I was the best, as if I were doing him a favor rather than saving him from homelessness. I should have stood firm, but he always managed to make me feel bad about it. He would assure me that it will just be till I am able to stand again. In your situation, I would gladly go to any lengths to protect you. I knew in my heart that the last bit wasn't true, therefore it always got to me. Next, we arrived at Christmas this year. Personally, I had a rough year. Nothing was going well financially, and work had been a major source of stress. Nonetheless, I was anticipating the holidays with my loved ones. Everyone was invited over by my parents, and I even got Adam a present, a new jacket that he'd been wanting but couldn't afford, which was a nice touch. I had hoped for a peaceful vacation. My ignorance was my fault. Something seemed odd the minute I stepped foot in the building. Adam paid me a passing glance. "Yeah, I'm glad you could make it. Excuse me, but I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, my friend." He stole a quick look at me before returning to his jokes with our cousins. I disregarded it. Perhaps he was merely in an unpleasant mood. Things started to go downhill after dinner. My mom asked Adam how he was doing when we were all sitting at the table and distributing food around. "Excuse me," he remarked while laughing, making the most of my existence. "I just bought a new apartment and some beautiful stuff." At last, hope has emerged. Food almost choked me. Fresh digs? Buying new furniture? None of this had been brought up in our conversation. His speech pattern suggested that he was thriving, not merely surviving. I cast a quick peek in his direction, hoping for a response. Just a nod or a thank you to my brother for all the aid he gave me. Absolutely nothing. He gave me the silent treatment. I kept my tone light and replied, "So, Adam, I suppose that means you're all set now, huh?" Perplexed, he scowled. "Can you explain? Even though you've moved into a new place with all your new belongings, you've still been relying on me to help pay the rent every month. It's fantastic. Everything is fine now, isn't it?" A shadow fell over his features. Suddenly, everyone was staring at us as he put down his fork. "What a sight, Jake. Is that so?" "At dinner. You should bring that up." I moaned. "I simply want to clarify that if you've solved all the problems, then I suppose you won't require my assistance any longer." A sour chuckle escaped his lips. "Hey, why are you behaving as if I had some sort of debt to you? Helping each other out was what I believed family was all about." My stomach knotted up. His tone made it sound like I was being self-centered, and that I hadn't gone out of my way to help him throughout the year. The temperature in my face was rising. However, he rolled his eyes and whispered something along the lines of, "You destroy everything. Just leave before I had a chance to reply. All conversation ceased at the table. Mom let out a gasp. My father felt a knot in his gut and coughed. What about me? It seemed as if the room had been evacuated. I kept staring at him, hoping he would reconsider or at least understand what he had said. This, however, he refrained from doing. He continued to eat without looking at me, simply picking up his fork. I got out of my chair and stood up. Guess what? To all, a pleasant holiday season. Even though my hands were trembling, my voice remained firm. Hope you had a wonderful evening. Taking my coat with me, I made my way outside. I was unimpeded. I went unnoticed. I recognized something about Adam that would never change as I went outdoors into the chilly December air. I had spent a year being there for him, hoping he would remember how much I had helped. However, he would never. I was never considered a brother to him. I merely served as a buffer. Silently, my thoughts raced as I made my way home. Perhaps this was a fortunate turn of events. Perhaps it was time to end the conversation. My phone, however, broke the following morning. Hello, Adam. I nearly disregarded it, but I felt compelled to listen to his words nevertheless. The message was read out to me when I unlocked my phone. Could we chat, man? No, really. My heart was racing as I gazed at the TV. It seemed obvious to me what was going to happen next. The message held my attention for an extended period. Could we chat, man? No, really. My initial reaction following last night's events was to disregard it, but I couldn't resist the urge to find out more. Tell me what he wanted. Would you like an explanation? Yet another document? A sigh escaped me as I ran my fingers through my hair in preparation for my response. I am. Is there anything worth discussing? The dots materialized without delay. It was my response that he had been anticipating. Hello, Adam. I made a mistake. Give me a ring. I was curious to hear his thoughts, even though I wasn't in the mood to talk on the phone. Me, was my straightforward response. Send a text message. It took an entire minute for his subsequent message to be transmitted. Hello, Adam. Dude, I'm going to need your help. I botched it badly. Yes, I saw it. Absolutely no remorse whatsoever. It was yet another issue that he wanted me to resolve. Recognizing my mistake, I shook my head in disapproval. I am. Referring back to last night's conversation, I thought you instructed me to go, right? That I destroy all that I touch. Hello, Adam. That was not my intention. All I felt was frustration. In front of everyone, you publicly shamed me. An unenthusiastic giggle escaped me. Frustration set in. Last year, I was the one who shelled out thousands of dollars for him. I am. So you weren't angry enough to say sorry before, but now that you're in a bind, you seem to remember that I exist? Received no reaction. After letting him simmer for a while, I got down to typing. I am. Hey, Adam, what's up? I hardly had a chance to set down my phone before he responded. Hello, Adam. It is $1,500 that I require. In fact, I found myself laughing out loud, to the tune of my voice. I was on the verge of relief because everything was so ridiculous and predictable. Without a doubt, that was the point. I did not feel any sorrow. Not related. Only capital. I am. There must be some mistake. Hello, Adam. If it weren't serious, I wouldn't ask, bro. My landlord has just informed me that I am apparently due a security deposit, even though I just moved in and purchased all of this furniture. It could lead to my eviction if I don't pay it. My mouth clenched as I stared at the message. After failing to budget again, he moved into a bigger apartment, bought new furniture, and then somehow expected me to clean up after him. Remembering how many times I had saved his bacon was a burden. All of the rent, financial obligations. My role as his personal ATM for a year evolved from those one-time transfers. He even had the gall to ask for more after advising me to go my own way. With my fingers tethered to the keyboard, I inhaled deeply. There was a part of me that wanted to tell him how I really felt, to spell it out for him. He needed to hear how terribly he had damaged this relationship. Unfortunately, my gut told me it was pointless. Adam was never one to look in the mirror. The sort to grow from his blunders was not him. So I just typed instead, I am. No, absolute quiet. The dots materialized and then disappeared, returning to the scene. Then it's over. I reclined and breathed out slowly. It might have been the last one. I was no longer Adam's safety net the second he discovered it. Throughout the morning, I paid no mind to my phone. I waited a few hours before my mom finally gave me a call. Even though I knew exactly why she was calling, I almost let it go to voicemail. The question was mine to answer. "Hello, Mom." "We wait. So why are you being so unhelpful to your brother, Jake?" With a pressure on my nasal bridge, I shut my eyes. "Sure thing. My mother." I maintained a steady tone while I spoke. "Are you aware of the amount of money that I have provided Adam in the last year?" She was unsure. "You have benefited him. I am sure of it. Yet, $500 monthly. On occasion, even more. Mom, thousands. How is it being utilized by him? Is he good to go? Is that all?" "No. His new digs are more pleasant. Just got some new furniture. He insulted me less than 24 hours ago, and now he's calling to demand more." Resentment seeped out of her. This makes sense to me, except for Jake. You can call him brother. Everyone pitches in to help out their own family. That expression, everyone pitches in to help out their own family. For all my years, I had heard it. Every time it worked out well for Adam. Never in my life. Then why is it that no one else can pitch in? I inquired, seeing my patience waning. "What happened to Dad? Exactly where are you? Why is it that no one else is required to continually save him but me?" She was unsure. "The additional funds are not available to us at this time." "No, I also don't." A solid statement was made by me. I still wouldn't give him a dime, even if I did, not in light of his remarks. Considering how he has handled me, I doubt it. Still nothing. After that, he frightened Jake in a softer way. The possibility of losing his place has him contemplating a move back home, he says. That lingered for a moment in my mind. I encourage him to do so. Might be just what he's been looking for. Evidently irritated, she sighed once again. Yet, she refrained from arguing. "Give it some thought, all right?" According to me, I already have. I proceeded to add before she could further accuse me of something. "Let me go now." "Take care, Mom." Before she could answer, I ended the call. I just stared at my phone for a second. I could feel my heart pounding. The feeling of freedom, nevertheless, was new to me after a long period. I no longer had any responsibility for Adam, regardless of his pleading. In spite of my parents' best efforts to coerce me into it, I refused to give in. What I couldn't foresee or anticipate at the time, though, was that Adam hadn't finished yet. Everything changed when he made his next move. Adam remained silent for the remainder of the day, not sending any texts. Nobody has called. Absolutely nothing. That was supposed to alleviate that. However, I felt uneasy instead. Adam was always a fighter. Half expecting my mom to send me another guilt trip message, I kept my phone close. Yet she, too, remained silent. Perhaps she sensed that I was determined not to budge this time. On the other hand, I got a voicemail the following morning. Not any of Adam's. Regarding my landlord. "Exit, Jake. Your brother called me just now. He said you authorized him to stay in your apartment for a few months as a sublet. Before we move on, I want to make sure that was clear to you. When you get a moment, please return my call." I was sitting up so quickly that I almost dropped my phone. "Excuse me?" Misunderstood, I listened to the message again and again. No, my landlord had actually just said exactly what I had imagined. Adam had given him a call. "My apartment is up for subletting. Not with my consent. Not even texting was a waste of time for me." Without delay, I contacted Adam. His answer was slurred, and it rang 4 times before he finally picked it up. "Hello? Tell me what you're up to." A temper tantrum ensued here. "We wait. Hey, Jake, give me a break." With my legs dangled out of bed, I began to pace. Act intelligently. "Why did you contact my property manager?" Absolute quiet. And then, "Oh, I understand. I understand." Keeping my temper in control really required me to take a long breath. "I understand. Please elaborate." "Right now." Adam sighed heavily, as if I were the one causing trouble. Hey, listen, I'm not doing well, all right? Given that you don't seem to make much use of your residence, I assumed, excuse me? I felt the need to yell out. This is my home. Hello, Adam, he remarked hastily. Yeah, but you travel for work sometimes, as if that made everything okay. I was hoping to be able to spend a couple of months there for free, at least till I get my bearings. It seemed like you weren't interested in talking, so I was going to ask you. Therefore, I simply avoided you. Because I was taken aback, I returned to my seat. I said in a low, menacing voice that you lied to my landlord. By all accounts, I was truthful, he maintained. I was about to inquire of you. Adam, please be quiet. A temper tantrum ensued here. You're astonishing. Your next move, after I reject your offer of financial assistance, will be to attempt to seize my house. Steal is a heavy term. Eventually, I ended the call. For fear of saying something I'd come to deeply regret, I felt compelled to do so. My knuckles were white from clutching my phone so firmly as I sat there. My entire body was thumping with anger, and my heart was racing in my ears. Such conduct went beyond mere entitlement. Unlike other instances, this one wasn't Adam being self-centered. God, this was just bonkers. It was far from over. My mom was calling me within minutes. The outcome was obvious to me, so I just let it ring. Next, I turned it off. Afterwards, I ceased all activity on my phone. Something has to be said. Reason being, Adam had just crossed a boundary. I would not stand by and watch as he got away with it. In an effort to calm my anxious mind, I inhaled deeply. This had escalated into something much more serious. Adam had lied to me, manipulated my landlord, and was probably sending my mom after me to make me pay for his transgressions. However, I had ceased participating in that activity. An hour later, I reactivated my phone, bracing myself for the deluge of messages that would surely follow. Yeah, I was fully correct. My mother, instantly, Jake, dial my number. I spoke to Adam just now, Mom. I hung up on him. He said, your brutal treatment of your own sibling begs a question. Why? No amount of ignoring me, Mom, will solve this problem. Someone needs to speak to us. I simply scowled. There was nothing we had to do. This shambles was Adam's fault. I could handle it on my own. Another text, nevertheless, caught my eye, one that infuriated me. Message sent by Adam. My goodness, you're going all out there. Since your flat is larger, I thought it would be a good fit for my temporary housing needs. Your egotism is not my problem. Surprisingly, he accused me of being materialistic. I am. The man whose rent had been paid for an entire year. The same guy who had always been there for him whenever he needed assistance. A knot formed in my jaw as my thoughts raced. Adam felt no remorse. Even if he were, he wouldn't pretend. He saw me as the antagonist. I knew I was done at that point, doing it perfectly. I was not going to disregard him. I would see to it that he finally got the message. I returned the call to my landlord by grabbing my phone. His attention was piqued by the second ring. Hello, Jake. The phone call will be very appreciated. Hold on a second. I spoke in a level-headed manner. Regarding the entire incident involving my brother, he misled. To sublease my apartment, I never granted my consent. His tenure here is short-lived. At this very moment, no, under no circumstances. Do not respond to his subsequent attempts to get in touch with you. Then there was silence. Yeah, something seemed odd to me. He was behaving in an unusual manner, slightly exaggerated. That is, a low growl escaped me. I apologize that he ever included you in this. Rest assured, the fact that I sought your opinion beforehand makes me very happy. After our call ended, I let out a long breath. That was taken care of. Yet, I had not finished yet. I still needed to make a phone call. I finally located the number I hadn't called in a long time by scrolling through my contact list. Uncle Joe. Uncle Dan stood above the rest. He practiced law, and not any old lawyer either. Very nice. Whatever Adam wanted to do, it was all right with me, but the consequences of pushing someone too far were about to become clear to him. Call was hit. He didn't pick up until the line rung twice. Hey, Jake. Holy cow. Long time no hear from you. Doing well? I inhaled deeply. Hi there, Uncle Dan. My brother is in need of legal counsel. There was an extended period of dead quiet on the other side. After that, according to him, that was a big deal. That should be fine. Yes, it was, because what came next was completely unknown to Adam. During my explanation, Uncle Dan listened. The monthly payment, that feeling of entitlement, the catastrophe of Thanksgiving. Finally, the obvious effort to deceive my landlord and abscond with my apartment. He whistled softly as I finished. Holy cow, that brother of yours is really brave. Yeah, give me the rundown. A low growl escaped me. Then, what is it that you hope to accomplish here? Is that so? He inquired. Adam didn't technically break the law. No one broke into your flat or had him fake your signature. However, that could alter if he persists. I combed my fingers through my locks. Right now I am unsure. It was simply me. I intend to prevent him from ever doing this stunt again. Something must be done to make him stop talking altogether. While thinking deeply, Uncle Dan hummed. To start, I would notify your landlord immediately. Make it clear to him that Adam will never be able to access your apartment, regardless of how he manages to get his hands on a duplicate key. That way, your landlord can consider Adam's actions as trespassing if they occur. Brilliant plan. What? I exclaimed. I will take care of that today. What if Adam tries to break in or does something incredibly foolish? Uncle Dan went on to say, make a 911 call right away. Just a heads up, there are no do-overs. When faced with actual repercussions, people like him will not quit. Calmly, I let out a breath. He had a point. After Adam, I had spent my whole life rescuing him, giving him second chances and warnings. With each repetition, he increases pace. No more. That will be considered. What? I exclaimed. Uncle Dan, I am much obliged. Thanks a lot. Come on, kid, he proclaimed. By the way, you shouldn't give in to your mom's guilt trips. I am familiar with her personality. No, I made fun of that. I feel the same way, definitely. Upon our call ending, I promptly sent a text message to my landlord to restate my previous statements. I am, for the record, Adam has absolutely no business being in my flat. I need to know right away whether he shows up or makes any moves. I am the landlord. I understand. Rest certain I will not even let him in. Thank goodness for that. Having a safety net was a relief. However, Adam was far from finished. I received a second text message 2 hours after first, from a mysterious source. Mystery solved. Jake, I implore you to lend me your ear. Looking at it, I was fixated. It had to have been Adam. He must have seen that I was blocking his path. I paid it no mind. Up next, another message. Mystery solved. Okay? I apologize. It was my fault. Get in touch with me. How quickly he had gone from haughtiness to desperation made me want to chuckle. Nonetheless, I remained silent. My stomach dropped at the subsequent message. Mystery solved. Mom says she's going to drop by and have a chat with you. Not to worry, though. Quickly, I got out of my seat. No, definitely not. Someone began pounding on my door less than 5 minutes after that. A piercing, abrupt knock. I opened it after taking a long breath. Yeah, that was her. My mom. Crossed arms while I stand in the corridor. It seemed as though I had offended her on a personal level by compelling her to go all this far. We need to talk, she said, shoving past me and into the flat. None of that stopped her, because I was prepared to battle for the first time ever. I also intended to be forthright. Turning to face her, I shut the door behind my mom. Standing in the center of my living room, her arms crossed, she seemed to be amassing ammo as she scanned the apartment. Her tone was acerbic as she accused me of being ignored. I've been busy, I said, my voice still calm. Scoffing, she said, avoiding your own family because you're too busy? Is your brother in crisis too busy for you to respond? A little giggle escaped me. A problem he brought about. This has nothing to do with Adam being in trouble, Mom. Here we are, once again, attempting to clean up after him. A narrow line formed by her lips. He's Jake, your brother. Family is too important to leave for the sake of an error. A single error. My voice rose as I repeated, "Are you kidding me?" This goes beyond the Thanksgiving holiday. His attempt to seize my flat is just one small element of this. This goes back years of him taking advantage of me footing the bill for his funeral while he slandered me in private. Further, you are unwavering in your support of him. She lost her temper because he needed assistance. Jake, you two have always been inseparable. Responsibility has never wavered from you. However, Adam is having difficulty. Plus, a kind brother will provide him a hand rather than scold him. Inhaling deeply, I clutch my hands together at my sides. What do you think, Mom? I acknowledge your point. Yes, I'm accountable. Where does Adam stand? Not that he ever has. Why? Because you rush over to correct his mistakes every time he makes one. You blame me whenever you're unable to do it yourself. Yeah, that's right. I interrupted her. I am finished. It's enough of my money for him. I will no longer tolerate his disrespect. I will no longer put up a front and act like this is fine because he is family. She watched me stand my ground in silence, as if she couldn't believe I was doing it. Now what? After a long pause, she finally said, "Will you simply end our conversation?" To steady myself, I let out a breath. Mom, no. Boundaries are being set by me. And if neither of us can honor that, then I may have to leave. Her face drooped. It was clear to me that she was starting to process the fact that I wasn't bluffing this time. To calm herself, she took a deep breath. If that's your sentiment, then okay. Indeed it is. With a curt nod, she walked toward the exit. She failed to bid farewell, and I did nothing to stop her. Ignoring Adam's persistent texts and calls, the following several days was my policy. Attempt after attempt, he sought to guilt me. You're going to ruin our friendship because of this. However, he changed strategies when it failed. You really believe you're superior to me, aren't you? That number has been banned. That concluded it. I felt at peace with myself, and that was a first. You won't have to worry about paying his rent anymore. Mom will no longer be a continual source of guilt. The weight of having to fix someone else's mistakes has lifted off my shoulders. And what's even better, I am glad I did it. Not in the slightest.